Imagine how much better all of our marriages could be if we would just implement this one thing. It would eliminate,
radical.
50%
It's radical.
of marital strife, because it's often decisions that we clash over. Hello and welcome to Rhema Now. We are Kirsten and Nathaniel Vossler, and we are so thrilled that you are here today. Today, we're going to be tackling a big topic, and that is how to make decisions with your spouse in a way that gets you better decisions with much less stress. Doesn't that sound good?
Sounds amazing to me.
So let's talk about this a bit, because this is a question that has come up before within our Divine Partnership Intensive. People asking, I think I heard from God on this. This is the decision, but how do I really make a good decision on this? And it's a little different question than the one we answered a few weeks ago, which was, do I bring God into it or do I just use my own wisdom? This is different because this is, no, we have a decision that we have to make. And especially as a married couple, there can be a lot of drama around decision making. And I'm sure that everybody else is aware of this as well, because we are two very different people with two very different opinions. And we've learned a way to make decisions together that is a not stressful way. I mean, I remember when we first got married, we did this sort of, but not every time when we were making decisions together, even like in engagement and leading up to our wedding. And there were some times when we would just kind of stalemate and get to this place where we were like, no, I want this, I don't. And we would just kind of butt heads on things. And so we've not done this perfectly all the time. And I think that gives us a really good place to talk about it from, because everybody has to learn how to do this. Every couple has to learn how to make decisions together.
Right.
And this can also apply to people who are not married if they have to make decisions with other people.
Absolutely. In a business setting or
in
a partnership, in a ministry.
For sure.
If you're planning an event or lots of places.
So we're going to talk about it primarily from a marriage relationship, because that's our biggest example. But it definitely can apply to other situations as well.
Absolutely.
So what is the trick and how did we figure it out?
Well, before we get into that, I do want to take a minute and talk about how stressful and painful it is when you are clashing. Because when you mentioned that, remembering back to the early days of our relationship and marriage, there were some really hard moments when there was something that was super important to one of us, and then the other didn't quite see it the same way. Then it would start to stalemate, and then that would get hard and stressful because we didn't want to hurt the other person. We really cared about the other person's feelings, desires. And then when that was in conflict with our own, then there became this stressful kind of conundrum of like, okay, how do we solve this? If we both get exactly what we want, it doesn't work.
Right. And a lot of it has to do with too, like really believing like, this is really the best way to do this. It wasn't even just about like, oh, I just kind of want this way. It was like, you would believe strongly, like, this is the best way. And I would believe strongly, no, this is the best way.
And it was like a lose-lose.
Yeah, for sure.
What I'm excited about is as our relationship with God developed, it became a natural solution. So as we decided to seek God's direction and God's counsel and actually engage in what we call listening prayer.
Yes.
So we're actually expecting Jesus to answer us in the moment for a specific question. So we're praying to him, and then we're receiving back whatever he's wanting us to understand, whatever he wants to communicate to us. And we're seeking his highest and best. We're seeking his will by laying down our own. So we're dying to our own control, agenda, desires. We're laying that all down at Jesus's feet because that's safety.
Yes.
And so what happens is if both of us come together and lay everything down at Jesus's feet together, now instead of battling each other, we're both laying everything down and going to the Lord and seeking his answer. as long as we're both surrendered to the Lord, then whatever he says, we're both able to receive and it unites us.
That is so good. I mean, I know that's what happens, but that explanation is perfect. I mean, that is exactly what happens. And it feels so much safer, like you said,
Yes,
to surrender completely to the Lord rather than you having to surrender completely to me or I surrendering completely to you. Like, okay, whatever you say, I know is going to be right. It's not about who's right and who's wrong or which is going to be the better answer between the things that
exactly.
we can come up with,
Exactly.
but we're truly just laying everything down before the Lord and saying, okay, what should we do? How do we do this? How do we even think about this?
Right. And the beautiful thing is there's God always has like a third option.
Yeah.
He has another way of addressing your being, your heart condition,
Hmm.
and he brings unimaginable peace to every equation. And
Hmm.
so whenever you engage with Jesus, encounter him, whatever he says is birthed in wisdom.
Yes.
It's extreme wisdom.
Yeah.
It's supernatural, divine wisdom. You can't get anything more simple, more profound, more cutting edge, applicable solution. You can't do any better than hearing from God,
It's
as we
true.
talk about. That's like
Yeah. Beat that drum.
that's our whole message. Divine partnership, divine wisdom from God, listening prayer is the answer.
Yeah.
As we engage with that individually, it allows us to come together. And what that does is a couple of things. Not only does it make us feel safe to lay down our agenda, we can trust that God, whatever he shows us, is is going to bring wisdom and direction that will be a blessing to
Hmm.
everyone.
Hmm.
And so when we're receiving direction on decisions from God, there's no more blame of
Hmm.
about outcomes.
Oh,
We
yeah.
also are not responsible for the outcomes. We're responsible for obedience, and then God carries the weight of the outcome.
Yeah.
And so if things don't go the way we think it should go, if I had made the decision or you had made the decision, then it's like, see, you should have listened to me
Yep.
because that didn't go the way that
Yeah. I
you
told
thought it
you.
would. And there's all this blame that can happen. Just it can. Not to say that we have any experience.
Oh, never, never.
Um, but if God is leading the decision, then
Yeah.
he also carries the weight of the outcomes. So we get to come and lay down our control. We surrender. In order to hear from God, you have to surrender
Hmm.
completely
Hmm.
to him. So we're both coming in a surrendered posture to the Lord. And the beautiful thing about this is as we're coming together, now whatever we're hearing from God, we have a witness. When we ask God together, and we both hear something similar or the same of the same spirit or the same general direction, it's absolute amazing confirmation that we heard from God,
Yeah.
which is also just insanely cool that that's
It is
built into a relationship
so fun.
because two or three witnesses confirms the matter.
That's right.
It's scriptural.
Yeah. And I just want to point out, like, we're going to get into the details on exactly how to do this. But I just want to point out, like, we've used the same method for so many decisions. I mean,
Mm,
at this point, I would say 90%, 98%. I mean, we're getting really high up there where anymore, if we have to make a decision about something, we're almost always one or the other of us going, why don't we just talk to the Lord about it?
mhm,
Like, why don't we just listen for a few minutes? Let's just take a minute and pray because I feel like we've definitely grown in that
mhm,
for sure over the last like almost 18 years that we've been married.
mhm. Oh,
And
immensely.
yeah. So, I mean, we did this exact method to figure out if we were going to, move states, if we were going to change jobs,
Mhm,
if what we were going to name our children, like how to pick out a name when we had wildly different opinions on names.
mhm.
Um, I mean, the sky's the limit to asking the Lord and connecting with him and with your spouse is so, so great.
It is like so comforting.
Hmm.
It's so exciting. It's so fun.
And it's really bonding.
Yeah, and it like we were even praying today over big decisions for our business,
Yeah.
for Raymond now. and trying to figure out what to do. And I just felt the presence of Jesus so thick.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I'm like, okay, we could talk about this till the cows come home
Mhm.
and really still not be sure. But we could sit here and engage in listening prayer with Jesus and feel his tangible presence, allow him to speak to us about his perspective and to give us his message to our hearts about our heart condition.
Yeah.
And we started even asking some new questions about like our being,
Mhm.
asking God about our being because of the whole framework of be, do, have,
Yeah.
instead of focus on the outcome and what you should do.
Yeah.
Start with the be, because who you are will produce the direction for what you do, which will produce the results and the outcomes.
Yeah.
And so asking God about what is the heart posture that you want us to be in,
Yeah.
and then go from there into the what do you want us to know, what should we do. That posture changed my whole attitude and my whole perspective
Yeah.
about the questions that we were coming to the Lord with. I actually kind of didn't even feel like the other questions were even necessary anymore, almost.
Yeah.
It was wild. And God does that. He does that
Yeah.
anyways. So many times we'll come to him with a question for direction about a decision. And then he comes back and says, I just love you so much. I'm with you.
Like, could you stay on topic, please?
And it's like, wait, no, I just want to know what to do. This is stressing me out. I want to know what to do. And he's like, I just love you so much that, you can just rest in me.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, that's exactly what I needed, because the reason I'm stressing out is because I'm believing a lie that I'm all alone and that I have to figure this out. And if I don't do it right, I'm going to be a failure. And
Right. And my wife's gonna be mad at me.
all of these lies will spin up, and it's all about, like, there's like identity crisis in there. It doesn't help us to just tell us what to do, because then we'll stay in the lies.
Right.
It
And we're
actually
staying in that kind of like driven mode of like,
driven in and
yeah.
separated,
Mhm.
separated and on our own. And he's a God of relationship.
Yeah.
So he wants to connect with us. He wants us to know that we're safe and loved, and that he sees us, and that he's with us,
Yeah.
so that we're not in a tizzy and we're not freaking out when we're trying to make a decision.
Yeah.
That's the worst. You make the worst decisions out of fear
Yes. Yes.
or stress, the worst decisions. So he's actually helping you. You're asking him something,
Mhm.
and then he answers you with what you actually need, because he
Yes.
really cares about your heart,
Yes.
first and foremost, because that's what really is the true driver. What is in our hearts, the condition of our hearts, our heart attitudes, our heart posture, our identity. If there's any lies in there and that's off kilter, it will ripple effect out through everything that we're deciding or doing,
Mhm.
and how we're interacting with other people. It will cause, destruction
Yeah.
and conflict and all the negative words.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've done a few podcasts on how to get rid of lies, how to get rid of
Yeah.
bitterness, like those things. So if anybody wants to go back and look at those, feel free, because those are really good places to start. If you feel like, oh, I kind of relate to that, go back and check those out so that you can understand how to be free of that, because it is not impossible. It's actually very simple.
So now that we've kind of talked about the general dynamics of making decisions together, can you walk us through the details of, okay, how do you go about this?
Yeah. So it's so easy. We come together. We each have something to write on.
Mhm.
So I usually have a piece of paper and a pencil, and you usually have a phone.
Mhm.
Something for notes. Doesn't matter what it is. But the note part is really important. And then we sit down together. We start by just doing what we call the opening prayer, laying down all of our desires and imaginations, binding the enemy so that he has no influence over anything that we're hearing, inviting the Lord to be the only one that we're listening to.
Mhm.
And then we ask him a really specific question. And then we both wait and we listen and we tune into what he's saying or showing us. And then we start taking notes individually and write those things down. And then when we feel like we're both finished, like, okay, I think I'm done. Are you done? Yes. Okay. Now we're going to go back and we're going to read what we wrote.
Mhm.
And this is so fun because I just love it when we're both hearing from the Lord. And like you said, it becomes a confirmation
Mhm,
when that we're both hearing from the Lord,
mhm,
because so often it's like 9 times out of 10 when we've done this exercise, for lack of a better word, we are hearing not the exact same words, but the exact same thing.
right.
And the Lord is showing us just exactly what to do, or how to think about it in a different way. Or he showed me this and I sensed this. I heard these words, and we just go back and forth reading what we have written down and documented, even sometimes scripture verses that stood out to us
Mhm,
as we were asking him, because he talks in so many different ways. And then we can look at it together and go, wow, okay, well, now we have a sense of actually what we should be doing. And like you said, it's not he said, she said anymore.
mhm,
It's, oh, this is God's direction for us. I'm surrendered to the Lord. You're surrendered to the Lord. It becomes so simple.
mhm.
And then we're bonded together in the like, I heard that too,
Yes.
and then that's so exciting. And then we can actually have steps to walk it forward. And then, of course, if there's any additional questions that come
Right.
up, we're like, okay, well, let's listen again.
Mhm.
And so we just keep doing that same thing over and over until we feel complete. And it's incredible. I mean, it feels like a total cheat code.
It really is.
It totally does. Everybody's making decisions all the time. I mean,
Mhm,
there's some stupid number of decisions that we make in a day. It's like in the hundreds of thousands that are all the little snap decisions that we
mhm.
make. But then there are like actually a lot of really big decisions
Well, especially in a
that we make.
family, in a
Yeah.
marriage and a family, there's events to decide to go to or not, and
Yeah.
what programs should the kids be involved in,
Right.
career path choices, home choices, location choices,
Yeah. Job
where should we
choices.
live? Should I take this job? Should you take that job? How are we going to deal with this, financial shortage? What are we going to do with this crisis? We have this
Yeah.
thing that came up. What are we supposed to do? How are we going to solve this issue? Yeah,
Yeah. Everything.
everything.
Everything. And everything is relatable to the Lord because he sees it all. He knows exactly what to do in every circumstance.
Yes,
It's so wonderful that we can come to him together and bring our requests to him and then listen. And
right.
that's the key,
That's the
is
key.
taking time to listen. Because it's easy to just be like, let's pray together. Okay, Lord, we pray that you'll give us direction. Goodbye. And that's like, that's not the way. Like,
That's like 1% tapping into 1% of what's
yeah.
available.
Yeah. Cause he wants to talk back. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like hanging up the phone before somebody has a chance to answer.
yeah.
If we're like, okay, well, I guess we'll go make the decision now. Cause, we prayed.
Well, and isn't that
And this
like,
is, yeah,
I feel like that's the knee jerk is like, oh, well, let's just lift it up to the Lord in prayer and then we'll go talk it out. Oh,
duke
so
it
you're duking it out. Anyways, any
Of
kind of
course.
prayer is great,
Yes.
but there's so much more available if you can tap into God's counsel. It's so much more than just we have this decision, please help us know what to do. Your will be done, which is a great prayer.
Yeah.
But then walking away,
Before you
hanging
even
up
listen,
and then going and just duking it out again until you kind of
until
come to
somebody gives up or
somebody wins the argument, you're tapping into 1%,
yeah.
I'd say, or maybe 5%
Yeah.
of what's available. Instead, you, you know, God, we have the situation. What should we do?
And he's like,
What do you have to say
let
about
me have
this?
both of you on the phone,
And
please.
get us on a conference call with God and let's hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
And that's available to us. Like,
Yeah.
and the peace that comes when you hear from God together, that's why we want to talk about this. We want you all to know that this is available and to show you how you can do it. And I'm sure that this is something that maybe hasn't crossed your mind. Maybe nobody has taught you, oh, this is how you can do this. This is available. This is how you can function as a couple
Mhm.
and avoid tons and tons of stress and strife and conflict.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine how much better all of our marriages could be if we would just implement this one thing. It would
It would be
eliminate,
radical.
I don't know, 50%
It's radical.
of marital strife, because it's often decisions that we clash over.
Yeah. And the things that you struggle with, there's a short list of like finances, intimacy, religion, or politics. Those are the big reasons why marriages can fail.
Mhm.
And So you can bring all of that right to the Lord together.
Yeah,
You don't have to succumb to that kind of statistic.
that's right.
And of course, you both have to be surrendered
Mhm.
to God. You have to lay down your control. In
Yeah.
order to engage in this, Jesus has to be Lord of
Mhm.
your life first and foremost. And then you have to surrender your control to force the outcome that you think you want.
Mhm.
You have to let it go because you can't go to the Lord wanting something and holding out for an answer that you like.
Yeah,
You have to be completely neutral
right.
and ready to receive whatever he says.
Yeah.
And if you both can do that symmetrically, then you can both have the safety and the trust that you're receiving from the Lord. And then you can rally around that direction. And then you go head into that. And then if something goes sideways out of that decision, then it's not fighting against each other.
No,
It's God.
you're going back.
Did we miss what you said? What should we do now?
Yeah.
What do you want us to know now? Because God doesn't mess up.
Mm-mm.
And honestly, we just kind of went through a 4 or 5 month financial kind of
Stretch.
journey, specifically asking about financial decisions and then doing that and then going, oh, that didn't quite work out the way that I anticipated. God, but you said, right?
Yeah,
And then time passes, and then those same things that we thought were gone forever open back up again. Then God brought other provision and other opportunities and other resources that were not on the radar when we
right.
were like, oh crap, that went away because we followed what you said there. And now what are we going to do? And instead of getting mad at God
Mhm.
or mad at each other, we just continue to walk
Like,
with God. This is ongoing divine partnership.
yes.
And then other things come into play that we don't have control over, we can't see, but we're staying in relationship. We're staying in connection with each other.
Yes.
So we're united. We're following God's leading
Yeah.
as a united front. And when God says something, you can really pray into that.
Yes.
If God's giving you a specific direction or a specific promise that you're both hearing, so you have witness confirmation, then you can pray that and declare that with authority.
Yes.
Then together be declaring and standing in faith for what he said.
Yes, absolutely. And it's that three-chord strand that's not easily broken. You and me and Jesus, we're all brought into one
Yes.
and connected.
And yeah, and like I said, like today we were praying over business decisions and I was like, this is the only place I really want to be.
Yeah.
I really want to be in radical dependency on God because I get to be with him. I get to talk with him face to face like a friend. That's like the most exciting, that is the most peaceful, loving place you could ever be,
Yeah, for sure.
is talking to him. And so, even the process of pretty big, pretty heavy decisions, I so enjoyed just being together with you, together in God's presence. I don't want it any other way. I want to
No, so
stay
good.
there and keep coming back there. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes I wish we didn't have to leave that spot and go do things.
Right?
Just stay there. And it's
Right.
just his just warmth of his presence.
Yeah.
There's just no contest.
No, it's so good. Okay. Well, and I wanted to just talk about one more little thing,
Okay.
and that is, what if we hear something different?
Oh,
Or what if
yes.
we
Okay.
end up with a different
Oh,
answer?
yeah.
Because
Yep.
this has happened. So what do we do then?
You just keep going back and continuing to ask questions until you get something that you're aligned on.
Yeah.
And if you need to come back around to it, sometimes it's a little bit harder to hear clearly if you're wound up emotionally over something.
That's true.
Or, or maybe you need to both go back and check, am I fully surrendered? Am I really neutral on this? Or am I really looking for a specific answer that I want? You can't come into it like that. So
Yeah.
if one of you is holding on to something, then you might not be hearing clearly. So we don't make any assumptions or accusations. We just go,
Right.
let's reset. Maybe you need to change up the question a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we've done this over a series of days too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, most of the time, I would say it's pretty quick, pretty instant. It takes us 10, 15, maybe half an hour. But there have been times when we're like, I don't know. I don't have total alignment, don't have total peace on this. And so we're like, okay, let's come back to it tomorrow. Like, let's sleep on it,
Absolutely.
come back to it tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And then oftentimes it's then that it brings that we're like, oh, okay, now I know what we're doing.
Yeah. So you could ask God, what lies am I believing about this decision or the situation or whatever, and let him clear out lies there. And then you could also narrow it down to a yes or no
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
response. So,
Mhm.
like, you could say, what do you want me to know about this decision? Or you could say, should we do this? Yes or no? And
Yeah,
just like wait until you get an impression
yeah,
from the Lord. And so there's different ways that you can approach the question.
yeah.
And then my favorite question when we're stuck, although it's such a it's so good
Let's
when
be real. It's your favorite
it's
question
my favorite
anytime.
question whether we're stuck or not, is God, what do you want us to ask you
Yeah,
about this? And
yeah.
that is so amazing because he comes in with things he might ask us to ask him something about what he said or about who he is. And it has nothing to do with the actual
Yeah,
question, but once that's addressing the heart posture,
right.
that's addressing your heart condition and your belief system, your being, then he can, once that's opened up and cleared out, then you can go in and get back to the yes or no on a specific thing and just hear clearly and no.
Yeah,
But the bottom line is you don't move forward until there's unity. If you're hearing different things, then you keep coming back and you keep coming back until you're both hearing the same thing because there's only one source. And so
right.
if you're both hearing clearly, it will be the same thing.
Hmm.
Just period.
Yeah,
And there's safety in that. There's safety in that, and there's comfort knowing that we're going to get there together and we are both going to confirm it. All right, so let's talk real quickly about our process of naming our kids,
okay.
because that can be really stressful
Yeah,
and lots of disagreement.
lots of disagreement. So I remember when we were pregnant with our first child, and we would start talking about names. And any name that I ever suggested, you would be like, "No, that's a terrible name." I knew somebody like that. We can't name her that. And then any name that you said, I would be like, no, I don't like that name either. That's so boring." Or like
Yep.
we just had very different taste. I feel like our taste has gotten closer, but at the beginning, it was very different. And we could not agree. And we didn't know the gender, so we had to have two. And so there were 0 names that either of us ever brought up that worked. And so I remember just kind of having an epiphany one day and being like, "Wait a minute. We know how to hear God together. Like we've done this before. How about we just sit down and we ask the Lord together, who is this baby? What not exactly what should their name be, but like what are we naming them for?
Mm,
What is their destiny?
mhm,
What is your heart for them?" And so we did. So we did this exact process that we talked about, getting a notebook, like sitting down together, asking the Lord, binding the enemy, all the things. And then just saying like, "Okay, God, what is your heart over this baby? What's their destiny?" And then we started getting this list.
mm,
And both of us got really, really similar things, like so similar that I think we were just like looking at each other like shocked and
mhm.
amazed. We got so much material from the Lord to start our name search from.
Yes.
And so it narrowed it down like crazy.
Hmm.
Totally narrowed it down. And then I remember the Lord showing me a scripture, and you had a name that you said, "I really love this name. I really think this is right in line with what we were talking about." And the Lord had given me a scripture. And so when we put those two things together, it just like blossomed. And then this whole beautiful name came out of that. And then after that, for every subsequent child, we're going to start from what God has to say about them, because that's going to give us actual material to work with to discover what is the name that we want to name them, because names are so important
Mhm.
and they carry such meaning.
Well, and it changes it so that we both know like what God says about the child, how he describes them, because
Yeah.
he has everything from before before they're born. So in the womb,
Oh,
he
yeah.
already has from their conception.
Yeah. I
He
mean, he
already
knows their
has
whole life.
everything planned out, everything he's prepared for them, and their identity and their purpose and calling and destiny. It's all there.
Yeah.
And we're the authority figures that God entrusts them to. It's the proper channels, right?
Right.
So he's entrusted us with that. So he would absolutely want to entrust us with the understanding about the child.
Yeah.
And so then when we both have an understanding of kind of who they are, all these dynamics about them, then we go pick a name out together. We research and we contribute, our ideas of, oh, this name could mean that, cover that, and this middle name could mean that, and make sure that we're covering the essence so that what we're naming them is in full alignment with what God says over them.
Yeah.
And that's fun.
It is fun.
And then of course we have to like it. We won't pick a name that either of us doesn't like. If there's any aversions, then we move on to, God has another name that can cover this meaning. And it's such a fun process because it's like a treasure hunt.
It is.
Instead of an opinion battle.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's out of thin air from thousands of names. It's taste, it's emotions, it's people you've known in your past, it's
Right.
associations, and like all of that comes into play. And it's very, very difficult to, like, I think in our case, impossible, I would say, just felt that way.
Yeah.
And I think the beauty of this process is one person doesn't have to just lay down and die.
Yeah, that's true.
And just accept whoever's stronger.
Yeah.
It's you actually get to collaborate on it until you arrive at the name that resonates.
Yes. And then it's been really, really fun because our first baby is, a teenager now. And it's like, it's really, really cool to see the things that God said about our kids and to begin to see that play out. I mean, honestly, from birth.
Oh my gosh. Everyone.
Like every single one is like, oh, that was definitely the right name for them. That was absolutely what God's been saying about them. I'm thinking about like one of our daughters who's 5 years old now. And when she was in the womb, like the Lord kept telling me, like, she's going to be a bold declarer of truth. Mm-hmm. Well, this little girl, I tell you what, like she is bold and she is very strong-willed, but and I was kind of like, this is a hard child to raise in some respects, but it's like, no, if she's going to be a bold declarer of truth, she's got to have a really strong will. She just has to learn how to turn that into submission to God and use it for good and not for rebellion. Mm-hmm. But it's just fun to see the things that God showed us specifically about our children and different ones and see how that has just played out so clearly in their lives, even as children. And it's exciting to see what he's going to do with them as adults.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
There's just so many more dimensions.
Yeah.
Because we're invited into their destiny.
Yeah.
We're invited into their identity.
Yeah.
From before they're born and the plans that God has for them to some degree. It's not, he doesn't show us everything, but it's the very, very good broad sense about who they are. Yeah. And it's so fun to see how different each child is.
Yeah.
And it's also incredible as they grow up and bring them into listening prayer sessions.
Yeah.
To hear for themselves directly from God about who he says they are and what his destiny and plans and purpose and calling is for their life. Mm-hmm. And that's an absolute game changer when it comes to raising children.
Totally is. And it's been really fun because some of the things that they've heard from the Lord have exactly lined up with the things that we heard.
Oh my gosh.
15 years ago.
And talk about double confirmation when that happens.
Yeah.
Or when even prophets come along and say something prophetically over them. And if it lines up with what we heard and what God's saying to them, it's like God is saying so clearly something here.
Yeah. That's been really fun.
So it's amazing.
Yeah. So that's how to make decisions as a couple. Any decision that you have, God will lead you. And all you have to do is have both people be fully surrendered to the Lord, lay down everything before him, and come to Jesus in that place of safety and ask him a question together and listen and then do what he says, because that is going to be the best outcome that could possibly be for both of you.
That's right. Yeah. So thank you for being here with us. We hope this was a tremendous blessing and inspiration to you and your personal walk with God. Be blessed, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.